You have been asking, and I kind of start every video with that. You know why? Because I kind of go with your questions. You've been asking about transplanting peonies, and I always say September is the month. You want to transplant peonies in September. So I have a tree peony here. I'm over at the main farm, and I've been wanting to move this one for years, and kind of September every year comes and goes, and I don't do it. So what I brought along with me is a big, just plastic container from a tree planting or shrub planting. I keep these around. They're great to use in the garden. I'm not doing anything fancy, guys. Just normal, everyday things you have at home. And now, this has been here quite a few years, since I'm little. So I'm gonna work around it in a circle with my spade, work the roots up, and then pop it out. Instead of prying it out just from one direction, I'm doing cuts all the way around. And when I say cuts, you actually have to cut through the roots. They're gonna be a lot bigger than the root ball I'm taking. But that's why you take it in September. That's when the plant is drawing in and going dormant. So as I work around it, I'm every so often prying up and seeing how it's taking and how I'm able to get it out. And you can see I'm starting able to be moving it. So every time now I keep going around it, I go deeper and get more of the roots. And then eventually, there it is. I'm setting this down in there. And as you can see, it naturally split into two. I'm actually gonna, that means plant these separately, and I might actually get 2 bushes out of this. I would have liked to get some dirt with this, but I didn't. So we're gonna plant it anyway, so come on. So after I move it and I dig it up and I see it's a decent sized root ball, you wanna get as much dirt with it as you can, but you have to be able to move it and manage it too. So that's why you wanna get it when it's going into dormancy, because then those roots aren't as active. So before I place it in the hole that I've dug, and I'm trying to be just like I would plant a new plant, I'm putting in just some fertilizer that's good for the roots. It has, soil microbes in it, has just some good organisms that just kind of help those roots take off. I used to kind of always think this kind of stuff was a little bit stupid. Like, what is really the point? But I've been using it and I've been noticing that it kind of does help things settle in really well. So I sprinkle that in, and then on to the star of the show here. This is a tree peony, which this works for herbaceous peonies, tree peonies. And if you don't know the difference, I happen to have a video on that. There are saved videos that talk about the different types of peonies, and this, moving them, works for any of them, and they all should be moved in September. So what I'm doing is checking the depth that was planted up there in its previous location. I'm not going below that. Peonies like to have their crown just slightly above the ground, which means where their roots are gonna start flaring out, kind of like a tree when I talk about it. They like to be slightly above. That helps them bloom a lot better. So I'm putting it at that same level. I'm placing it and turning it to make sure. And now what I'm gonna do, I haven't been getting as easy of rains lately, or as good of rains. And just to make sure, I'm gonna water it well while that hole is open. I like to do that for one, it puts the water directly with the roots. It also makes sure that hole is really well moistened, and that means it's gonna receive water a lot better in the ongoing weeks as I need to water it. You need to treat this just like any other new plant. And until we have hard freezes and things go completely dormant, they still could be active as they still have some green leaves on them. So I don't want to not water it. You need to keep it watered. So I'm gonna start placing the dirt back on it. If there's clumps, obviously break them up. And it could take me here a little bit because I have good dirt here, but sometimes when you don't have it really good rains or something, it can start getting dry and it comes out in a little bit more of clumps. So I'm gonna put the dirt back around it, making sure to not put that crown down below the ground level, and then we'll finish it off. As you can see, the important part here that I'm talking about, that crown and the same soil level it was at before is where I have it now. I'm gonna do another watering on it. And you can see I'm not watering over the canopy. That's because when you do that, the leaves are gonna disperse the water way out and not get it right on the roots where it needs to be. So that's why it's always good to go in the canopy, right directly onto the roots, so it can get down to where it needs to go. The important thing here is don't be scared to move something. You're gonna break the roots. There's no way you can get a big enough root ball that you don't disturb any of the roots. There are things called tree spades that dig up huge live trees to do that. we're not gonna do that in our home yards. Instead, we're gonna do this. We do it when they're going dormant. That's why September is the time you move peonies. It stresses the roots less. It's less cumbersome because they're not as active as they were during the growing months. So move your peonies in September. Don't be scared. Trust yourself, just be bold and just do it. If you're afraid because in a week, maybe the leaves start looking a little droopy, don't be afraid. Water it as needed. When it dries out, give it water and wait till next year. Those leaves will pop back out. They're gonna drop soon anyway with the year. So I hope this helps. I hope this answers some questions and just takes some of the mysterious idea of moving something away. You can move things and not be scared. Share it around. Tell me what else you wanna see. I try to answer your questions because that's what I do. We help each other with this. Gardening is easy and I want everyone to feel comfortable doing it. So I'm gonna keep transplanting a couple other things and always have something to do.